I've asked for clarity with an avoidant and he got very defensive. But when I said, if I hadn't have asked anything, would we be carrying on the same? And he said, absolutely. What does that mean? It means that, most likely things were going okay. The fact that you were seeing each other means that you like something about each other. You were having fun together. And asking for clarity kind of just puts the person in a tricky position. One of the things I've learned, and I kind of subscribe to now, for those of you who don't know, I used to be an anxious attached. I still struggle with triggers, but it's very different after doing as much healing to become more securely attached. The difference now is I can take my time to respond and react. It's not impulsive, and it does not, the trigger just doesn't, we don't just pull back and fire off. So that's the difference when you heal your attachment style to a larger degree. Now, as an anxious attached, I used to want to have clarity. I wanted to know exactly what's going to happen in the relationship, what the plans are, what the future looks like. And generally, we want clarity so that we could feel safe. We don't like being blindsided. And let's go back to days of old when we were cavemen, right? Imagine if you were a hunter and you were going out there. You don't know what's coming at you, and that can leave you in a state of anxiety. You don't know if a lion's going to pounce out of the bushes at any given time. So to know exactly what was happening, what the field layout was like, you could be better prepared of how you're going to deal with it in the future. That is why an anxious attached person will say, look, I just want to know. I don't care if you just plan on spending the next 3 months with me. I just want to know what's going on. It's so that you could prepare yourself emotionally, psychologically, and even physically for what is to come in the future. Now, an avoidant attached person, they know this all too well, and that is why they're super independent and they don't want to lose their autonomy, because they have recognized that if they depend on others, if they listen to someone's words and they depend on that person or trust what that person says, what they have learned is that humans can change their minds depending on what that human being is going through at that particular time. Now, why things change when we show up and ask an avoidant attached person, hey, what's the status of the relationship? One, they think you should know. If you're happy together, it means things are going well. If you're not happy together, it's not going well. It's understood. The other thing is, they don't know how to make you a promise because they don't know what the future holds. What if I promise you that I will stay with you no matter what? And 3 months after, something happens and you get abusive. I gotta leave. I can't keep my word. Right? So they don't know what's in the future. They don't know you as yet. And what they've also learned is that it takes much longer than 6 months or a year or 2 years. And in some cases where people reach out to me after 30 years of marriage, they say, I thought I knew this person. An avoidant attached person knows that people change. We evolve. We're supposed to. And so when you ask someone, what's going on here? They can only say so much. I like hanging out with you. I like being with you. That's a truth. I do have plans for us in the future. I just don't know where that's going. That's a truth, but it's not what the anxious attached wants to hear. They want to hear a definite. Now, the reason I share this with you, and I'm asking anxious attached especially to start becoming more independent, also value your autonomy, is because I remember how painful it was to be in relationships with people who were not saying what I wanted them to hear. The most important Sorry, it says I was paused. I'm not sure how much you missed, but I'll just continue. We want to see the reality of people. They have potential to change. Will they change? It's their decision. So why are they a particular way in the beginning and then in the end? When we're from an unhealed attachment style, when we're still operating as a fully anxious attached or a fully avoidant attached, then it's fear and insecurities that drives us. So the way they were in the beginning, that was driven by fear. The way they are now is driven by fear. The way they behave when they're triggered, it's triggered by fear. So fear is a big friend of this person, walking along with them, being a puppet to their lives. The thing is, they don't realize that it's happening. It's kind of like having a ghost around that moves stuff around. And you know it's being moved, but you don't know it's a ghost doing it. It's kind of like working in the background. It's in your unconscious. You're self-sabotaging. You're doing all of this without realizing. And until you start to recognize it, you won't be able to move. Now, how did I get all the way here when I was just talking about, is loneliness unhealthy? Oh, the reality of it. We have to look at people for what they offer, what they bring to the relationship, and accept that as that is their normal, whether they're avoidant attached or an anxious attached, secure attached, or we might think it's boring. This is what they bring. Does it work for me? And then we choose either to stay or we leave. But we don't get to question what is someone's normal. Here's a fun fact about me. That is not normal for many people, especially people of my ancestry. I have a rice phobia. A lot of people don't understand, and there's a story behind it and how I got to this point. That is not normal for the majority of people, especially from my ancestry. And I get questioned all the time about it. But that is my normal. My normal is if I smell rice being cooked, if I see a grain of rice at a far off spot, I will notice it. If I smell the rice, I'm going to feel nauseous. I'm going to probably get a headache. That is my normal. And I don't need to be concerned about what someone else thinks I should do about it or not do about it. Okay? All I need to do is protect myself from this food that majority of people enjoy. Is it normal? Is it understandable? Probably not. But that is my normal. It's the same thing with our behaviors. If an avoidant attached feels triggered and they start to feel overwhelmed, their normal is to shut down and self-soothe. When an anxious attached person gets triggered and they start to feel overwhelmed, their normal is to reach out and ask, or reach out hoping that someone is going to help them soothe. That is their normal. Is it healthy? Not necessarily so. Rice, I never really tried to get into it because it's not the kind of starch that my body needs, so I let it go. Had I have a problem with meat, for example, and my body needed it, I probably wanted to work through that fear because my body is suffering without the protein or the ingredients that I can get from, the nutrients I can get from meat, right? So you work towards what's healthy for your body. If an avoidant attached person feels like it's healthy for them to continue the way they do, they're not going to see a need to change, okay? It is entirely up to you to make a decision of who you're going to accept into your life and who you won't. All right. Okay, here's another question from one of you before I get into the other one. I'm an anxious attached person. My husband is more avoidant. Yes, you do find these two attracting each other, unless you're healed enough to know exactly what you deserve, what you're looking for in a relationship. So I advise us all to keep working towards healing your own attachment style. Yes, understand the other people's attachment style, but work on healing yours if you want to be in a healthy relationship. If you're waiting for your partner to heal themselves so that you can be happy, you're still leaving them in control of your joy and your happiness. How can you tell if someone is avoidant or not into you as they should be? Again, the should be. You decide on what should be looks like for you. It's a personal thing. How many phone calls do you want per day? How many do you feel you need per day? Do you need that good morning text, the good evening text? Not every human being needs it. There was a time when I needed it. I don't need it anymore. It does not say anything about how my partner feels about me if he says good morning or good night. There are other times, there's so much that happens in a relationship that you could look at it and say, okay, this person cares about me. This person loves me. This person shows up when I really need them to. This person has been in my life for so long. We have a great time. Do I need a good morning text to remind me that they care about me? No, I could look into our past and the relationship we've had that tells me that. You get to decide how much of this person you need or how much they should be to you. Now, if they're avoidant attached, you're not getting the fairy tale love. You're not getting a prince on a white horse riding in to save you every day. That's not going to happen. Or a prince that kisses you to wake you up as it did in Snow White every day. That's not what you're going to get with an avoidant attached person. I'm not here to tell you that you need to choose a secure attached person. I know it's not possible unless you know what you're looking for and you know how your triggers affect yourself and the relationship. I'm here to say that if you want to be with someone who's got an anxious attachment or someone who's got an avoidant attachment, you have to see what you're getting into. This is not a secure attached person. You cannot look at an avoidant attached person or an anxious attached person and try to demand that they are a secure attached person. It is what it is. We're dealing with insecurities. So the advice that I give you is for those of you who want to continue in a relationship with someone who's got avoidant or anxious attached. My job is not to be here and judge you. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm here to help you manage what you're going through. So if they have an avoidant attachment style, they're not people who are in constant communication with you. Accept that now. In order for you to know if they want to build a relationship with you, you have to be able to step back and allow them to come to you. If you are, I know it's the dynamic with men and women. How do you go about approaching this? Because it's expected that the man is going to pursue the woman, and women. I know I don't want to get into pronouns and genders and all of it. I'm really just strictly speaking to how society expects us to show up in energies, right? So the masculine energy is the one that goes out and sets a goal, sees a target, and goes after it. So they pursue. The masculine energy will pursue. Now you need to know if you want to be more in a feminine energy, if you belong in more of a feminine energy, and where you place that energy. There are a lot of women who have grown up in homes where they had to take care of either the parent or take on the role of a provider and protector. Now, they are going to be more in a masculine energy. These are women who grew up feeling like they had to fend for themselves. They had to take care of themselves. So they started working earlier and they have more of a masculine energy. You find that these are women, if they have an anxious attachment style, they pursue. And it puts the male, if you're attracted to the opposite sex, in an uncomfortable position because men generally they fall in love when they are chasing, when they are hunting, when they are pursuing. Vasopressin is released in the brain when a man is pursuing. That is the thing, the effort the man puts into the relationship is the thing that makes him fall in love. So when you want to be in a feminine energy, you want to be able to sit back and allow the person to come to you. An avoidant attached person will show interest if they have the space to do so. What I mean by that is we find that the anxious attached will reach out and initiate contact fairly often. Hey, how are you doing? Good morning. I just want to wish you a great day. Did you have lunches yet? What does your evening look like? Do you want to go to the movies tomorrow? And we do that throughout the day. It does not allow the other person to think about you. It doesn't allow the other person to think, wait a second, I haven't seen this person in a while and I really miss them. I should probably initiate catching up sometime. So try to pull back anxious attached and wait to let people show you if they're interested in going out with you, if they're being with you. And then you'll know if this person is interested in going out with you, or they just have an avoidant attachment style, which means they want some space. They want some space to themselves. They appreciate the space that you give them, and now they miss you, and they're going to pursue you. Usually 2 to 3 days should do it for you. How to ask an avoidant attached person out on a date. Again, if you're in the masculine energy, see your target, set your goal, go after it. That's a healthy masculine energy. What you're doing is, I want to ask this woman out. I want to ask this person who is more in a feminine energy out. And I'm just going to do that. I'm just going to do that. And I'm assuming this question is coming from someone you just started going out together. If you are more in a feminine energy, you do not ask. I saw an analogy recently, and I thought it was absolutely beautiful. Someone says, do you ever see the egg chasing the sperm? Do you ever see the egg? Have you ever heard of the egg chasing the sperm? Biologically, we are different. There's a different makeup. Women have more estrogen and progesterone. It's just how it is. Okay? I'm not here to say, judge anyone or tell you who to identify as. I'm a person. Okay? I've got all of these chemicals rolling around inside of me. At any time, one could be more than the other. What I need to do, what you need to do, is know who you are and how your body operates based on how it's feeling. You could very well be a woman with a more masculine energy, and that's where you feel comfortable. That's great. Knowing that is great. But now you know how the other person is. You're generally going to be attracted to people who are more in the feminine energy. And you have to accept that that's who they are. Similar, there are many women in masculine energy and men who are in feminine energy, and the two keep attracting each other. So the woman shows up and she's the one who makes all the plans, initiates everything. It's the masculine energy she's in. And now the man who's in the feminine energy is on the receiving end. We call them selfish. They're just taking and taking and taking. But there are patterns that needs to be broken. How you show up in the relationship will determine how the other person shows up as well. You're two in this. So I hope that helps you. If I had a strong self-concept and self-respect, would I fall in love with an avoidant attached style person? If we are made for each other, will he come back? Those are two questions. I'll answer one at a time. You can still fall in love with someone who's got an avoidant attachment style or an anxious attachment style, regardless of your self-respect or your self-concept. What will be different is that you'll be able to set boundaries. You're not operating from a place of fear. You'll be able to advocate for yourself, which is something that when you don't have self-respect, self-love, self-concept, you're unable to do because you're always afraid of what the other person might think or do. Generally fear that this person is going to leave. So knowing who you are, what value you bring to this person, to your friends, to your family, to the rest of the world, helps you to see yourself differently. It helps you to love who you are. And when you love yourself, you won't allow anyone to disrespect you. It's like if you have a child or if you have a pet, you're not going to allow anyone to come in and hurt that child or that pet. You'll get very defensive. You will push them away. But we haven't yet learned to love ourselves that way. So we don't say, no, you cannot treat me this way. You can't do this to me. So it does help to develop ourselves, our whole self, in order to be healthy in a relationship, regardless of who it is. But yes, you can still fall in love with someone who's got an avoidant attachment style. Or you're going to be able to choose, and you'll be able to choose early on if you want to stay in a relationship with this person, or if you think it would be best for you to leave, you and them to leave. Does anxious attached people walk away from avoidant attached persons? Of course. So there comes a point, again, as human beings, we can only take so much. The moment you say this is not working, you already know, and your body is just building up the stamina, the courage to get to a point where you actually leave. I've had people reach out, clients I've worked with, and they say, I know I should leave, I'm just not ready. And I've always said, just give it time. Your body is going to make that decision on its own. Your job is just to remind yourself that you are going to be better. Someone asked me here, how do I heal after a breakup? The person's going through a breakup right now. Do this in your relationship and out of your relationship. Have a relationship with yourself first. Do things with yourself. Enjoy your own company. Being alone does not mean being lonely, as we talked about earlier. You have to learn how to be self-sufficient, self-reliant. You have to respect your independence, your autonomy, just as an avoidant attached person does. But also be open to connection, not need connection. We can want a relationship. It's healthy, it's safe to want relationships, but to be dependent on another person's behavior, habits, words, so that you could feel better, so you could be less stressed, that is just putting too much power into somebody else's hand. And you want to be able to take care of yourself regardless of what's happening outside of you. You want to make sure that you have control of what's happening within you regardless of what's happening on the outside. See if I could grab another question. Can things be fixed if your partner cheated on you? Yes. Yeah, I believe it can. I believe that we can forgive people for their inconsiderations and their indiscretions. However, you want to see change. As human beings, we make mistakes. Cheating on someone, emotional, physical, that's one way we betray each other in relationships, but there are many other ways that we do betray each other, and we can forgive. But in order to forgive, one, you have to accept that this was something that was done to you. It's not done because of you. You didn't do it. There's no self-guilt when someone cheats. They're going through their own issues, and unfortunately, you pay for it. You want to take your time. There is no timeline. You don't have to force yourself to forgive them in any given time. You can choose to continue life with someone and not yet forgive them. You could choose to forgive someone and still hold some bit of resentment there. All of this is normal. There is no right or wrong emotion that you're supposed to have. I believe that the only thing that you really want to do is appreciate what you're feeling. You could say, I think about this behavior from time to time and I resent you for it. There are times when I resent you and there are times when I'm okay. So you want to be as truthful to yourself as you possibly can. Because one of the worst things that you can feel is self-guilt. Allow yourself time to forgive this person. Not blame yourself. Try not to wonder if you could have done anything differently and what did you miss. You didn't miss anything and you couldn't have done anything differently. It happened the way it did and should have. And now you're in the place that you're at. What can you learn from this? Maybe you were too trusting, and that's all right. Again, you didn't miss anything. Now it's just time to be a little more careful. And when you choose to forgive someone for betraying you, know that that trust has been broken and it needs to be earned. And you have to give them time to earn it. People jump into relationships and pick up just where they left off after a big betrayal. And it only leads to something similar happening all over again. You have to let the other human being know that I'm not okay with this. And now you have to prove that I can trust you again, because I'm not sure I can. You've already betrayed me. And I'm going to watch your actions. I'm not going to listen to your words, because that didn't work the last time. You told me things and you did not stay consistent to what you were saying. So now I'm going to watch your actions, and I'm not going to give you as much as I gave in the past, because now it needs to be earned. That's how you set a boundary. And you're not telling them any of this. You're just doing it by actions. If you used to run across to their place all the time, let them come to you. If you used to be the one initiating everything and making all the plans, let them do it. Now it's their time to win your trust. That's a very precious thing. Your trust, your respect, your trust, your love. Very, very precious things. It needs to be earned, not just handed on a silver platter. Okay? All right, let me see if I've got another question. Anxious attached here wants to be reassured and secure. You'll have to do that for yourself. Nobody else can reassure you. No one else can make you feel secure. No one could validate you, because, here's the thing about a validation. They're going to tell you that everything's good. They're going to tell you that they love you. And a second or two after, at the back of your mind, you're going to ask yourself, are they just saying this because they want to get rid of me or shut me up, or because I want them to, or because I asked them to? You're not going to believe someone else validating you. You have to know who you are, what you bring to the relationship. Are you a good, kind, compassionate person? Why would they want to spend an hour with you? Because you're fun. You have to know that, so that you're not asking them. When they say, I'd like to see you, you should already say, oh yeah, that makes sense. Of course you'd want to hang out with me. Of course I'm fun. I'm nice. You don't need them to validate you. And no one could make you feel secure. You have to do it within yourself. And you know that from knowing who you are. Fall in love with who you are. How do you fall in love with someone? You ask a ton of questions about them. What did you go through in your past? Oh my gosh, poor you. You've gone through so much and you're so resilient. And you're falling in love with them. What about you? You've gone through so much. You're so resilient. Isn't that enough to love you? You see the other person and you think, oh, you're so much like a child. I just want to protect you. I love you. I understand you. But you don't do that for yourself. What about you? What about you appearing like a little child and needs protection and need love and affection? Why can't you? You see, that the problem is, it's not that we don't see it. We're looking for someone else to give it to us. But instead of you putting all of your energy into somebody else and giving it to them, just bring it to yourself. Sorry, allergies. All right. I haven't met men who are consistent, kind, and compassionate. I'm unable to recognize secure and kind men. We tend to get attracted to people who are familiar. Okay? We know this kind of behavior, and so we keep going towards the behavior. If we meet someone who is secure and kind and compassionate, we instantly start to think something's off here. They're either boring, or we start to think they're hiding something. And so unconsciously, we might start to sabotage the relationship with our thoughts without realizing it. Because if we think they're boring, then what do? Try not to meet up with them much. Try not to initiate contact, because this person's just boring and they're available. They're there. I don't have to try hard. And if we think that they're hiding something, that they have an agenda, or they're pretending and they're manipulating us, then what we do is we start interrogating them, which starts to push them away, because now we're looking for information that would make us feel safer. So we can self-sabotage healthy relationships because we're not familiar. What you want to do, this is where taking things slow is so incredibly important. Get to know people. Give them a chance. I'm sorry if you're hearing the noise out there. I'm really sorry. It's Manhattan apartments for you. So you want to take your time getting to know people. before jumping into a relationship with them. After a while of being with a secure attached person, you'll start to see that maybe this person is exactly this way. The other thing is we tend to project ourselves onto others. So if you're not securely attached, you're not going to be able to recognize the avoidant attached, the anxious attached. And I don't mean completely securely attached. You could just work towards it and know what to look out for. When you know what you deserve, when you know that it is not your place to fix someone's trauma, it is not your place to beg someone to spend time with you. All right, let's just use those two. You know, I don't have to beg them to be with me, and I don't have to fix them. I don't have to make them happy. It's not my job. That's their therapist's job. When you meet an avoidant attached person, and you've gone out a few times and you realize that this person wants me to chase them and they're not meeting me halfway, and you're more secure attached, you're going to be able to say, this is not working out for us. Doesn't make me feel good. And I wish you all the best. And you leave instead of trying to change them or working harder to get them to see you. When you're a secure attached person and the other person, the anxious attached, is asking for validation or needing reassurance, as a secure attached person, you could say, I can appreciate that you're dealing with some insecurities here. I could answer your questions so much, but it's now becoming overwhelming for me. And I don't think this is a relationship for me. I won't be able to continue, and I wish you all the best. Right? That's how you operate when you're more secure attached style, because you're honoring your feelings as well as taking the other person into consideration and not getting upset with them, not trying to change them. Okay? Alrighty. What? I think I might have gomophobia. All right, I have a 14-year-old son, and he helps me to realize how much I really don't know about these acronyms and abbreviations being used. If you can, just let me know what that is. I'm getting anxious if there is a topic about marriage. Oh, okay, hang on. All right, let's just forget what the gomophobia is. I get anxious if there's a topic about marriage. How can I fix it? I think you want to ask yourself, what am I afraid of? What about marriage that's really scary for me? Chances are you are from a home of divorce. One parent was not present, or you saw a lot of divorces happening around you, or something around divorce that rubs you the wrong way. You might have gotten divorced yourself, and there's a negative that goes with that. Maybe you've seen someone lose their independence, their autonomy, they were controlled, it was an abusive marriage, whatever that reason is. Ask yourself, what am I really afraid of? And would this apply to me and my relationship? Now, religion plays a huge role in people staying together. I get that. Culture also plays a huge role in decisions we make as it relates to marriage and staying in a marriage. It is a relationship. The paper, the contract does not change the human being. It does not change the human being. So there are many things that you will have to take into consideration. Why are you afraid of marriage? Is it marriage to a particular person? Has it been an uncomfortable relationship? And you're wondering, why do I take that step if this relationship as it is isn't working out? Is it going to get worse? Maybe that's a concern of yours. But you have to take you into consideration, right? If it's just, I can't even say it would just be a case of, I just don't want to get married. There's something in your past that's holding you back from taking this step, that's scaring you from taking this step. You just now need to ask yourself, is this my reality? Or was this my parents' reality? Was it whoever you've experienced this uncomfortable thing with, their reality? I was a young child, I was younger then. Does this apply to me and my relationship? Is this about my past, or is it about the person who I'm considering or would like to consider getting married to? That's the best I can give you on this, because I really need more information on this. Mentally prepare because anxious attached people are planners. All right. All right. How about we take that planning into our career, and it doesn't always have to be with our partner? How about we plan when it comes to our children, our friends, our hobbies, and it doesn't always have to be with our partner? Here's what's going on. You're asking for how to make your relationship better. And you're planning and you're initiating and you're doing all of it. That's great. The problem isn't that. The problem is when we start to do these things, but now we have an expectation. The other person didn't ask us to plan or initiate. We're doing it, and then we build up resentment because they're not doing it. So if we're going to do something, perfectly fine. But we ourselves get hurt when we're doing it with an agenda in mind. We're not doing it from a pure place just because we want to. We're doing it because I either want this person to see that I'm interested, I want them to see that I'm a good person, that I'm sweet, that I'm a good catch, and I'm going to keep doing it. And then eventually, oh, this person's not appreciating me. They're not meeting me halfway. The person never asked me to do anything for them. But now I'm upset with them because they're not meeting me halfway, and I start to build up resentment. The problem isn't that you're planning and you're initiating and you're being sweet and you're being kind. It's that you're going to build up resentment when you expect the other person to do something they're incapable of doing, and you hold resentment. That is the problem. Are we hearing that noise? That's a lot of noise. I'm going through a divorce because I caught my husband in a hotel room with his side chick. Whoa. I'm currently receiving treatment for trauma. I am so sorry. I am so sorry. That's all I'm going to give on that one. I am so sorry. I was talking to someone who did a consultation yesterday. Heartbreaking. I was listening to his partner's heartbreaking message on voicemail, and I thought sometimes, I love my work, don't get me wrong, but sometimes this is the most painful thing to go through. After 8 years, mine rebounded days after me, and I found out, but he continued to email me, keeping the door open. But when the new girlfriend reached out as to why I was emailing him, I told him, okay. So people can get into rebound relationships shortly after they go through a breakup. Generally, it's because they're going through a lot of pain. They need a distraction. It's a them thing. They probably need an ego boost, something to feel confident about, something to remind them that they're still desired, still wanted. It does not mean that they get over the person that they just broke up with. It's not that easy to get over someone that you've been in love with, you built a life with. And so, yes, they're going to want to keep the door open, but they're not sure exactly where they're at. The only concern that you want to have is to make sure that you're doing what's necessary to protect yourself. You know that quite easily by how you feel. If you've gone through a breakup, you know they're seeing somebody else. Yes, it's going to hurt you. Hearing from them, it's going to keep you in a place of hope, but it's also going to make you angry. It's going to make you question yourself, question them. It's just not it's not comfortable feelings that you're going to have. You need to protect yourself from that. No one else can do it. Not that person who's emailing you, not the new girlfriend who's messaging you. None of this is comfortable. You have a choice. You either stay in the situation or you remove yourself, and only you can do that. No one else. No one on this planet, not even if you have a therapist, can they take you out of that feeling. You are the only one in control. She says she loves me, but can't stay in a relationship right now. We are long distance. Again, context matters, but let's just throw out a story here. Long distance relationships are difficult. Generally, you'll find that it's the avoidant attached person who will more than likely say, I can't be in a relationship right now. So we're going to assume that this person has an avoidant attachment style. It can come from a number of reasons. Maybe they're overwhelmed with where they are, what they're doing, what's going on in their lives right now, and they don't have the space to show up for you, perhaps as you need or you want. Generally, avoidant attached persons, or even a secure attached person, the only difference is how they communicate, they prioritize a number of things. They prioritize work, family, friends, romantic, intimate relationships. But the priority shifts depending on what needs attention at that time. Okay, both avoidant and secure attached people will do this. So for example, let's say I'm having dinner with my friends, and that's the priority at that moment. But a client calls and there's an emergency, my work becomes the priority in that moment. So it depends on what this person is going through at the moment, and can you appreciate their struggles and say, okay, right now you need to focus on this. I'm going to be here. I'm going to get about my life. I know we're still in a relationship. What we find is with the anxious avoidant dynamic is that the anxious attached cannot appreciate that life can become burdensome for some people, and they may need to step away from the relationship for a little bit. They're still a part of it, but they need to step away and deal with some other stuff. As human beings, yeah, we're powerful, but there's only so much we can handle. And especially in today's modern world, we've taken on a lot of responsibilities. We have a social life. Some of us, we've got children. Some of us got more than one child, right? And on top of that, we've got work. We've got our friends. And we've only got 7 days in a week. So it can become a lot for us. And especially the older we get, things change. So you've got to be able to be in a relationship, comfortable being by yourself, alone, having some alone time, not being afraid of that, and appreciate what your partner is going through and if they need the space. So if they're saying they can't do a relationship right now, and the unfortunate thing here is that which one would a person give up on quicker? It's kind of it's a priority scale, right? You can't give up on your job because you need that. You need to live. You need a home, a place to stay. You need food. You're not going to give up on your job. You can't walk away from your kids because they're already your kids. Can't walk away from your parents. They're already your parents. You've had the friends much longer than the relationship. So when you start to get really stressed out, you think about the one that you can live without, the one that I can survive without. And we all know, we can always find another partner. We can't find another parent. We can't find another child. It's not easy to find another job, right? Those are necessities. So most times you find that the person, when they're super overwhelmed, especially if they feel like the pressure is coming from the partner, it is the partner that has to go. Because again, at the end of the day, the person wants to preserve themselves. Is that selfish? Yeah. Do we need to be selfish to live? Yes. But we can also be compassionate and caring. Okay. Let me take a question there before I get to the one here. How to fix all of this? Learn about yourself. That's the simplest way I could go about that. Focus more on you. Bring the energy to you. Less on everybody else. Lauren says, thank you for answering my question. Not sure which question that was, but you're welcome. All right. Oof, I'm just running through the list to find another question. Will it always be this way with an avoidant, or can they get better with therapy if they get back together? I'm in no contact for 2 months. I was pretty much the best person she was ever with. I'm sorry, I'm thinking. There's certain things that will stump me. Will it always be this way with an avoidant? No. Avoidant attached persons, like every human being, we have the ability to grow and evolve. We are also, let's talk about the part where we think that we're the best person that this person's ever had. That might be true, but the relationship ended, and it's not only because of the other person. It's not only because of the avoidant the relationship ended. See, when we're giving too much to someone who can't receive, someone who is incapable of receiving, then we're adding pressure to them. We might think it's a good thing, but they're feeling obligated, they're feeling inadequate, they're feeling not good enough because they know they're unable to show up. Now they're feeling insecure. They're thinking, oh, this person's so sweet and so nice all the time, but I can't give them a present. I can't call them all the time. They're probably going to leave me. So they start to exit. I'm going to use this analogy again. Imagine someone is allergic to shrimp. And I love shrimp. But this person is deadly allergic to shrimp. Would I force them to have it? Would I say, no, you must have it. It is really good for you. And the person is saying, no, I'm okay, I'm fine. They don't want to hurt my feelings, but they're not going to tell me that they're allergic either. And I keep trying to force them because I think it's good for them. Again, we have to take our time getting to know the other person and not project what we want onto them. What we think is good onto them. We have to listen and respect. And I've been seeing this more and more in relationships that's causing relationships to end. People are saying, I don't want the presents. Please don't give it to me. And generally the anxious attached gets angry. Oh, but I'm doing something nice. No, you're disrespecting me. I'm telling you, this is my boundary. I'm telling you, it's like people who are assaulted. You know, so many times you hear these stories where people said, oh, but she was wearing that outfit. Oh, she said no, but she really meant yes. It's exactly what we're doing in relationships to a lesser degree, but you know, you get the drift of what I'm saying. I'm saying we have to listen to people and respect that. If you're into having, you love getting people presents and like seeing them happy, they're charitable organizations. You get validation there. You get real, true validation. You give someone some soup and you can see that they're genuinely grateful. You get the validation. But listen to what people are saying and try to reach them there. If they're asking you to pull back on the presents, to not give them the presents, they tell you, this makes me uncomfortable, stop. This is what a boundary is. Oh, but they're not being clear. They're not telling me that I don't want the presents because I feel obligated. I think it's been going around social media for a while. No is a full sentence. No is a full sentence. And the thing is, your relationship with an avoidant can possibly work better if you give less. These are people who don't want more. They want less. They want quiet, easygoing, meet up, catch up, laugh, talk, have fun. You don't have to complain later on that, oh my gosh, I gave everything. I just kept giving and giving and giving. Don't. There's nothing to be upset if you don't give as much. and you'll see that the relationship's going to work. Challenge yourself to do that this week. Just challenge yourself. Let me see what's going to happen in my relationship if I just get busy with my life. If I make some plans, tomorrow I'm going to go out with some friends. Actually, I could tell you my schedule and you just do this. Tomorrow I'm going to the movies by myself. Super excited about the new Marvel movie. Going to watch that. Tomorrow's Thursday. This evening, I'm going to dinner by myself. Super excited about it. I'm going to take a notebook. I'm going to write about some topics that I want to cover next week for us. Okay? All by myself. Now, Friday evening, I'm going to catch up with my partner after I have dinner with my son. Okay? Do things for yourself. And you don't have to tell anyone you're doing this. I mean, I'm telling all of you this, but you don't have to tell anyone. Just make an agreement with yourself. Make plans with yourself. Go out and have some fun. And see how your partner shows up for you. Just challenge yourself to do that. There's a question. It's interesting. Ma'am, what's the reason I only feel attracted to women much older than me? We tend to believe, this is my thoughts on it, we tend to believe that older people are more mature and caring and understanding. And it comes from the wounds we have with our parents, older figures in our lives. It can also be an encounter you had with someone who was older, someone who appeared to care more when you were a child. Could be a babysitter, could be an aunt, an older figure in your life. We're generally looking for, I remember, in my younger years, I was attracted to older men, and it took me a while to realize that I thought age had something to do with maturity. And that probably came from the fact that I thought my dad was the smartest, sweetest person, awesome cook that I ever met. And I used to go along with him when he would go to work. And I so admired my dad. And I just thought, oh, older men are mature and they have their stuff together. It was actually really just an avoidant attached person thing. But I would get into relationships with older men and found out that emotional intelligence has nothing to do with age, right? It has everything to do with our awareness, our self-awareness, our ability to work on ourselves and heal. I've got very young children. They're emotionally mature, my favorite people. And, you know, sometimes I've said this in the past when my son was 7 years old. I said, if my 7-year-old does not stress me out and know how to communicate and is always working on himself, there is no excuse for any of the other people I allow in my life. So, yeah, that has something to do with that, might have something to do with the age thing, but you probably want to meet with a therapist and discuss that a little more in detail. My partner has an avoidant attachment style. When we get too close, he runs away. When I distance myself, he starts to approach. I don't know what to do. Stand still. Okay. The avoidant attached person is going to run when they start to feel overwhelmed. It is not getting too close. It might be spending too much time together. When they pull away, just know it's not a you thing. They're just stepping back, self-soothing, and you get about your life. When you get about your life, it's not a deliberate distancing yourself. It's not passive aggressive. It's not to get back at the other person. You're just getting busy with life. And when you do that, they are going to come back into your space because they feel relaxed and at ease. Okay? So what you want to do, focus on your life, which is going to appear as though you're distancing yourself. But there is no game. There isn't a manipulation going on. You're just busy and focused on your life. And you're giving them the space to do whatever, the self-soothing that they need to do, because perhaps they're in their head thinking, oh, I'm so into this person. What if they leave me and then I have to deal with it? Let them talk themselves through it. Let them process and self-soothe. And then they'll come back to you and things will work itself out. A question here, would you help me with my relationship? I'm losing it. That is incredibly a very broad question. So what I will do is I will send you to my website, annalisabahadur.com. There you are going to find tons of articles. I try to get at least two up per week. You'll find a link to the podcast. The podcast is Decoding Attachment Style. You're going to find books that I've written on attachment style, navigating intimacy, how to heal attachment style or how to heal yourself. There's a journal there on it. You could also follow me on LinkedIn, where I talk about attachment styles in the workplace. A lot of you have been reaching out asking me if it feels the same in friendships or in a work dynamic. Yes, attachment style is the same in every situation we're in. Your attachment style does not change. You get triggered and you react in response. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for the triggers. Can you be secure in certain situations? Of course. Are you insecure in some? Yes, but how you respond and react is going to tell what your attachment style is. Thank you for this opportunity to serve you. I love doing what I do.